Hey there, hi there, ho there, my name is Thomas and welcome to the Second Star channel, the only channel on YouTube that combines the wonders of Disney with the artistic styles of jazz music. Have you ever wondered what it would be like to travel to the future? Well, Disney had a crack at answering that question with their film Meet the Robinsons. It's been 10 years since its theatrical release, so let's talk about some Easter eggs, unknown facts, and a few mistakes found in this movie. Without further ado, here we go. Meet the Robinsons was released on March 30th, 2007, and it's the 47th film in the Disney animated canon. Walt Disney Feature Animation wanted to assert themselves as being separate from Pixar, renaming themselves Walt Disney Animation Studios. This is the first film to show the new Walt Disney Animation Studios animated logo. The film was based on a book called A Day with Wilbur Robinson. The science fair that Wilbur attends is held at Joyce Williams Elementary School. This is a nod to the author of the original story, William Joyce. After reading the screenplay, director Stephen J. Anderson actively lobbied to direct this movie. As a child of adoption himself, Anderson personally experienced many of the emotions that Lewis expresses in the film. During the production of the film, Stephen J. Anderson acquired a new boss, John Lasseter. He became Chief Creative Officer of both Disney and Pixar. One of Lasseter's first comments on seeing an early cut of the film was that the villain wasn't scary enough. The parts of Lewis and Wilbur had to be recast when the original voice actor's voice broke. The character of Lewis was voiced by both Daniel Hansen and Jordan Fry. Daniel Hansen voiced Lewis at the beginning of the film's productions, and Jordan Fry redubbed some segments that had already been recorded. This is noticeable in some parts of the movie and in the trailers. After a test screening for John Lasseter, Chief Creative Officer of Animation at Disney, he suggested a lot of changes to Anderson. In the next 10 months prior to release, nearly 60% of the film was reshot and re-rendered. This added new story elements and action scenes as well as a diabolic sidekick. This film took 4 years to produce. A picture of Walt Disney is seen in the orphanage. One of the pictures on Lewis' wall in his room in the orphanage is of Nikola Tesla. When Lewis is explaining how the memory scanner works, he says that the memories are stored in the cerebral cortex. However, they are stored in the limbic system and temporal lobe. Maybe that's why the machine didn't work. When Wilbur throws Lewis off the roof on the invisible time machine, Lewis falls flat on the glass dome, complete with hollow glass dome sounds. However, when the time machine becomes visible, we see that the dome was already open and Lewis actually fell onto a chair. His limbs would have stopped falling at different levels than his torso, or maybe it's a futuristic type of glass. At one point, Lewis mockingly refers to Wilbur as Captain Time Travel. This is evidently an actual superhero character in Lewis' time, since this character appears on the lunchbox he used for the control panel of the memory scanner. The graphic even resembles a muscular, caped version of Wilbur. In the 3D version of the film, the credits all roll at 2D, except for the names of the people who converted it to 3D. The Todayland Park is a tribute to the original Tomorrowland, the futuristic section of the Disney theme parks. Immediately visible are Space Mountain and the original rocket jets. This could be a reference to Tomorrowland at Disneyland, which was originally the idea of what 1985 would look like from the perspective of 1955 when the park originally opened. During the T-Rex attack, the train and pizza dough disappear after they are used against the dinosaur. After Doris created her clone, her hat band changes from purple to black, and then back to purple again. There is a hidden Mickey on the music stand sheets when Lewis meets Franny. There's also a hidden Mickey on the cover of Gaston's stopwatch upside down. The squiggly lines on the central monitor in Lewis' design drawings of the brain scanner spell out the word Mom. The dinosaur mascot for the baseball team that Goob plays for is homage to Dinosaur Bob and his adventures with family Lizardos by William Joyce. In a scene, we find the camera cutting to zoomed up images of the Robinson family portraits, which appear to be hand painted. In many of these shots, the signature Ruppel 2005 can be found, referring to Rolf Ruppel, who was the art director of the film and was part of the art department in past Disney films. The Robinsons' topiary garden is inspired by Disneyland's It's a Small World and Walt Disney World. Large, intricate topiaries have long been a staple of Disney parks. Also, the Robinsons' garden features colored circular bounce pads. During the scenes where the characters bounce on these, they bounce on the same way as jumping fountains outside the Imagination Pavilion at Epcot. Unlike Chicken Little, which was filmed in 2D and then enhanced to 3D, Meet the Robinsons was shot from the outset as a 3D feature. Certain elements that were removed in earlier story treatments and cuts of the film were reintroduced in the final shot of Lewis' workshop. One of these elements is the anti-gravity boots, which can be seen to the right of the unfinished Carl the Robot, which Lewis used in a fight with Doris in an early storyboard. Prior to the film, theaters showing the film in Disney Digital 3D showed the Chippendale short Working for Peanuts. Theaters showing the standard version showed the Mickey Mouse short Boat Builders. The film played theatrically on over 600 RealD digital 3D screens. This was the first Disney animated film not to be released on VHS. Director Stephen J. Anderson and actor Ethan Sandler voice a significant amount of the cast between them. Many of these characters interact, and as a result, the two spent much time in voice-over sessions together. Doris' final test subject is modeled after Stan Laurel of the Laurel and Hardy comedy duo, whose distinctive attire included bowler hats. The brain scanner on the Brain Scanners for Mark poster on the building next to the orphanage looks almost exactly like Doris the Hat. When Doris sabotages the memory scanner, you see her turning a screw counterclockwise to remove it, but as the screw comes out, you see it has a left-hand thread. This would mean that she's tightening it instead of loosening it. Carl's voice actor Harlan Williams also voiced a robot in 20th Century Fox Robots. The reporter voiced by Joe White at the end of the movie looking for a story for the local paper is the same animation as Derek in DreamWorks animated film Monsters vs. Aliens, which was released 2 years later. Talk about recycling. With all this talk about keeping track of your time machines, as this was the main issue of the movie, the fate of the second time machine is never revealed. Remember, Lewis brought Goob back from the future in the first one, which means that the second machine is still somewhere in the present. When Wilbur is revealing his family, he says that his dad looks like Tom Selleck. Tom Selleck indeed provides the voice of Wilbur's dad. During the pop quiz scene, where Wilbur is asking Lewis about all he knows about the Robinsons, Lewis refers to Wilbur's dad as your dad, Cornelius. However, he does not meet Cornelius before this point, and no one told him Wilbur's dad's name yet. In the German version, Wilbur says his dad looks like Thomas Gottschalk, who happens to be the voice actor in this version. In the Latin American version, Wilbur says he looks like José Luis Rodriguez El Puma. Wilbur's father looks like Giovanni Mucciacca, the Italian Art Attack presenter who is the voice actor in this version. In the Japanese version, Wilbur says his father looks like Kazuhiko Inouye. I am so sorry for butchering that. When Wilbur's dad Cornelius is talking to Lewis, he uses the Disney point to point at Lewis. The Disney point is the two-finger point rather than one. It's what cast members use in the parks. During the memory scanner's wedding scene, Lewis recognizes Grandpa Bud because of this smile on the back of his balding head. However, in the next few glimpses, Bud has no hair on the back of his head, but when they get in the car together, he does. Of the animated films released in 2007, Meet the Robinsons was the fourth highest grossing behind Ratatouille, Shrek the Third, and The Simpsons movie. The film received mixed reviews from critics, with a 67% on Rotten Tomatoes and a 6.9 out of 10 on IMDb. As of January 2016, Meet the Robinsons and Chicken Little are the only computer-animated Disney animated feature films that are rated G in America. Over its theatrical run, it grossed $97,822,171 in the United States and Canada. In comparison, Pixar's Ratatouille grossed $112,408,657 in the box office. Now, was this movie a complete failure? Hardly. Did it prove that Walt Disney Animation Studios was competitor to Pixar? Possibly. Would I prefer watching Meet the Robinsons to Shrek the Third?
Hey, zoom, zoom! Let's help our friends get back, Soon.
Absolutely. Walt Disney Animation Studios originally had a Meet the Robinsons 2 planned. However, John Lasseter canceled this when he became Chief Creative Officer. So, it's safe to say that there won't be a sequel. And there you have it, Lost folks. Hopefully you enjoyed this trip down memory lane. My community question for this video is, if you had a time machine, where would you go? The past? The future? Let me know in the comment section below. If you liked this video, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe if you haven't already. Second Star is on a Sunday-Wednesday schedule, so subscribe and hit that notification bell. And as always, my name is Thomas. Make sure to keep those happy little thoughts, and I will see you in the next video.